Now tell me this hasn't happened to you. You go into your first day of class and your professor gives you an essay assignment due at the end of the term. Boom! You think you've got lots of time to complete it because, well, you do. You also think that the essay is going to be relatively easy to complete because, well, it is. So you've devoted the weekend before the assignment is due to actually write it. But then you get sick. You have other assignments due at the same time, and you have opportunities to go out with friends. So before you know it, the essay is due tomorrow. You ask your professor to get an extension. Boom! You get rejected. You calculate your final GPA if you fail the assignment. That's not going to work. So the only thing left to do is pull an all-nighter. Now, as somebody who has successfully completed many all-nighters in my schooling, as well as a professor who's marked many papers that have been clearly all-nighters, I can honestly tell you that there are good and bad all-nighter papers. And in this video, I'll walk you through the step-by-step process to successfully achieve an all-nighter essay. Hey guys, I'm Mike. I'm an organizational behavior professor at the Ted Rogers School of Management. In weekly videos, I share my student and professor experiences to give you insights in terms of how to better manage your student life. I generally don't talk about topics learned in the classroom, but learn the hard way throughout university. So if you're a university student or will be soon, hit subscribe, smash the like, and check out my weekly videos. Now, as a professor, I have to read this. I do not condone all-nighters. Now here's my steps to performing an all-nighter. For step one, you're gonna have to make a large cup of coffee or grab your favorite energy bar. For step two, you're gonna set timelines, milestones, and boundaries. Some people procrastinate because they find assignments can be overwhelming. Oh my God, I have 10 pages to write. I don't even know where to start. So what you should do is break that assignment into mini tasks, little chunk-sized bits that you can knock off quicker. Start with the easier ones first to gain confidence and build momentum, and then tackle the more challenging ones as you go along. And what you should be doing is mapping out each of those tasks associated with the time frame. So that way, if one task is taking longer than expected, you can skip it or press it and complete it quicker so that you can move on so you don't get pushed behind when you have a tight timeline like an all-nighter. The last thing that you're going to want to do here is talk to your friends and families to say, buzz off for the next 24 hours. I can't handle any distractions. I need complete focus on my all-nighter. Now, step three is to review the instructions and rubric for this particular assignment. Now, you likely have reviewed the instructions at the beginning of the term, or maybe not. In any case, you're gonna wanna review them again right now as you're getting serious about writing the paper. Specifically, you're gonna wanna look for what grades are given for, what you can be penalized for, and what is objectively measured on the rubric. Okay, now this measurement piece is very important because what your TAs or evaluators are trying to do is objectively evaluate a subjective assignment. Pro tip, they're going to try to find ways to remove marks from your paper. So if you have only provided 3 references and the rubric asks for 4, deduction. If you did not reference appropriately, deducted. If you used a different font style, a different font size, if the rubric asked for a student number on the front page and you didn't, deducted. You see where I'm getting at? It's important for you to find highlight on that rubric, everything that is objective that can be binary, yes or no, circle it, and then make sure it's included in your paper. Step 4 is to pick a topic that you know. Because you're a little bit under the gun in terms of time frame, it would be highly beneficial if you picked a topic that you already knew something generally about. Now is not the time to learn more about obscure topics. Step 5 is to map out your headings. So this is a big one. Headers are important. And for some reason, most of my first year students don't actually include any headers at all. They just have sentences and paragraphs and it just runs and runs and runs. Is this something that's taught in high school? Because in university, the more headings, the merrier. So headings help with the structure and flow throughout your paper. So what you should be doing is writing down the headers, the major headers of your paper, and then within each of those, what are the major subheadings, what are the subheadings within each of those spots? And then when you're done all that, read them all through and make sure that's a nice logical flow throughout your entire paper. And here's a little bit of a pro tip. In parentheses beside each of the headers, you actually write the page length that you're going to spend writing for that assignment. This makes sure when you sum them all up, that the total length for your paper will be met and you're putting the right weight or effort next to each of those sections. So step 6 is about making a skeleton for each of your sections. Building on your headers, you're gonna write 2 to 3 sentences about what each of these sections are going to be about. Okay, now it doesn't have to be perfect, but just get it started and get the flow of ideas going on there onto the page. And then when you read through all of the headers, all of the skeletons for the entire paper in order, make sure it flows. Now, step 7 is about reviewing the rubric again. Now that you have the headers and the skeleton all written, take a step back and read through the entire report in full. Does it make sense? Where would you lose marks? Where would you gain marks from the rubric? If you were to write it out completely, would you accomplish everything that you wanted to? What else is missing and what do you need to include in the skeleton? So step 8 is all about looking for appropriate references and quotes. Now, most essay assignments today require some sort of references or quotes, so now's the time to do it. I have another video online that tells you how to reference like a professor using online tools, so watch that. And when you're looking for references, put a time constraint on this task. You can go down the rabbit hole looking for reference, finding the best reference. You don't want to do that, especially when you're under the gun in the middle of the night. Okay, so put a time cap on this step. And when you're looking for references, don't look for very wide topics. Your topic for the reference should be driven by the skeleton. Your skeleton is about what you should be writing about in your paper. So you should be specifically looking for the references that are aligned with your skeleton. If, on the off chance, you find a reference that you do really like, then now's the time to change the skeleton. So step 9, review your rubric and instructions. Again. Are you noticing a trend? Each time you review your rubric, you're likely to pick up on different cues that are important for your paper. So continuously review it as you're working on the paper. Step 10, start writing. I know it might sound odd that we're on step 10 and you're only beginning to start writing fully of the paper, but don't worry, you've already done a lot of the hard work. You have a plan for what you're writing, you already have the references, and you have all the important components of the paper based on the rubric. The only thing you need to do is develop it and connect each of the sections, and then you're home free. And another thing, you've probably already earned yourself a pass on the assignment based on what you've completed, so keep going. Step 11, don't strive for perfection here. We're pulling an all-nighter. Now is not the time to overcomplicate things. Be basic. Use references when you can. Define things when you can. Use simple terms and be concise. Simplicity is your friend here. All right, guys, that's it. That's my video on crushing an all-nighter. If you found this video helpful or want to learn more tips on how to make your student life more enjoyable, hit subscribe, smash the like, make sure the notification tab is on, and check out my videos next week. That's it for me right now. I'm off to bed.